Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at a drugs gang from Blackpool who flooded the northwest of the UK with dangerous and unforgiving Class A drugs along with other substances such as cannabis, and who went on to receive a combined total of over a century's worth of prison time. Professional boxer Jack Arnfield, who admitted dealing cannabis, was among those sentenced at Preston Crown Court. Mr Arnfield, 29, of Ruby Road, Kirkham, received a 12-month suspended sentence and must do 250 hours of unpaid work after he pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply cannabis. Other defendants in the case, called Operation Jeanette by police, included John Casey, 31, of 7th Avenue, Blackpool, Darrell Whalings, 28, of Rathmore Gardens, Leighton, Blackpool, Bradley McSpirit, 29, of Wetherby Avenue, South Shore, Blue Lily, 24, of Powell Avenue, Blackpool, Declan Morgan, 25, of Melville Road, Bispham, Stephen Miller, 25, of Carr Road, Fleetwood, who pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply cocaine, and Joseph Murphy, 28, of Percy Street, Fleetwood, who was found guilty at an earlier trial. Jessica Lang, 21, of Elgin Place, Grange Park, was found guilty of conspiracy to supply cocaine and conspiracy to supply cannabis. Joshua Shaw, 26, of Henson Avenue, Marton, was found not guilty of conspiracy to supply cocaine, but pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply cannabis. Anthony Gill, 33, of Worcester Road, Middleton, Manchester, and Bradley Gill, 28, of Ascot Road, Blackpool, both pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply cocaine and were sentenced at an earlier date. Gareth Alton, 40, of Browning Avenue, Thornton, and Barnley Alton, 34, of Clifton Drive, St Anne's, pleaded guilty to money laundering. Scott Lee Drew, 31, of Asgarth Court, Marton, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply cocaine, conspiracy to supply cannabis, possession with intent to supply amphetamine, and possession of a prohibited weapon. The court heard how more than a kilogram of cannabis, with a street value of around £18,000, was found at Mr Arnfield's home during police raids as part of the operation to smash the drugs ring. Mr Arnfield previously cleared of allegations he played a role in a huge plot to supply Class A drugs. Prosecutor Martin Reed said he played a significant role in the context of his own dealing, adding, "He not only in passing on cannabis, but possessing equipment to cultivate it. He has 3 convictions for 11 offences, including 4 for supplying cocaine and 4 for supplying cannabis in 2010. Mr Arnfield's pro boxing career was previously put on hold when he was jailed in 2010 for 18 months for drug offences. After being freed from prison, Mr Arnfield had to wait until the British Boxing Board of Control cleared him to box again. At the time, he said, "I didn't deal drugs, but I allowed myself to be used as a courier. I was in the wrong and I was naive and stupid." He returned to pro boxing, and on February 17th, 2018, he was defeated in the British boxing middleweight contest by champion Tommy Langford. By then, the Lancashire Police investigation was well underway. 4 days later, on February 22nd, Mr Arnfield's home was among 10 addresses in Blackpool, Kirkham and Manchester raided as part of Operation Jeanette. 6 kilograms of high-purity cocaine with a street value of £700,000 was seized from the addresses, along with cash and other drugs. The court heard this was estimated to be a snapshot of the true scale of the dealing operation, with 28 kilograms of cocaine estimated to be involved. Police say the organised crime group was headed by Anthony and Bradley Gill, who, together with other distributors of controlled drugs, coordinated the supply of significant amounts of Class A and Class B drugs in the northwest. Leader Anthony Gill was involved in sourcing drugs, predominantly cocaine, from his criminal contacts. He organised the handover of cash and deliveries of cocaine with Bradley Gill and used encrypted phones to communicate with other conspirators. Bradley Gill controlled the Blackpool-based cash and drug couriers and dealing with the distributors who took cocaine from Mr Gill's stock. He was also in contact with upstream drug suppliers from outside Blackpool. Darrell Whalings worked for the Gills as a cash collector, gathering in money from Blackpool-based distributors and handing it to the cash couriers. He was also involved in the storing and processing of cocaine. Scott Drew, who was the partner of Jessica Lange, was also involved in the distribution of drugs on behalf of the Gillses. In 2017, he took over Mr. Welling's role as Mr. Gills's primary cash collector, gathering in drugs money from the distributors in Blackpool. John Casey was also a distributor who sourced cocaine from the Gills and was in contact with the Gills' cash and drugs couriers during the conspiracy. Bradley McSpirit sourced significant amounts of cocaine from the Gills and was involved in deliveries of cocaine on their behalf. Declan Morgan was a distributor of cannabis and cocaine that he sourced from the Gills. Audio recordings by the police caught Jessica Lange, who is the sister of Anthony and Bradley Gill, discussing Mr. Ledru's criminal activities, and she was present with him while he carried out his crimes. She passes on messages between other conspirators and often instructed Mr. Ledru on how he should collect his cash. She cried loudly in the dock as Judge Simon Medlin commented she had a respectful job, but had become sucked into a life of crime. Blue Leahy also sourced cocaine from Mr. Gills for onward distribution. When his home was searched, the police recovered some small snap bags containing cocaine, a tick list, and over £1,800 in cash. Mr. Leahy was heard on audio recovered from Scott Ledru's vehicle conducting what the Crown says were handovers of cash in payment for cocaine. Joseph Murphy acted as a trusted courier for the Gills, receiving cocaine from upstream suppliers and moving it on to distributors. He was in direct contact with Anthony and Bradley Gill and other dealers. Stephen Miller sourced cocaine from Mr. Whaling and was also heard giving money to Scott Ledru in payment for cocaine. Sentencing details. Anthony Gill, 33, Worcester Road, Middleton, Manchester, received 14 years. Bradley Gill, 28, Ascot Road, Blackpool, received 14 years. Bradley McSpirit, 29, Weatherby Avenue, South Shore, Blackpool, received 11 years and 4 months. Darrell Whalings, 28, Rathmore Gardens, Leighton, received 10 years and 8 months. Joseph Murphy, 28, Percy Street, Fleetwood, received 10 years. John Casey, 31, 7th Avenue, South Shore, Blackpool, received 9 years and 4 months. Declan Morgan, 25, Melville Road, Bisbam, received 8 years and 8 months. Blue Lily, 24, Powell Avenue, Blackpool, received 8 years. Stephen Miller, 25, Carr Road, Fleetwood, received 6 years. Scott Ledru, 31, Asgarth Court, Martin, Blackpool, received 5 years. Jessica Lange, 21, Elgin Place, Grange Park, Blackpool, received 5 years. Jack Arnfield, 29, Ribby Road, Kirkham, received 12-month suspended sentence and 250 hours of unpaid work. Joshua Shaw, 26, Henson Avenue, Martin, Blackpool, received 12-month suspended sentence and 2 hours of unpaid work. Gareth Alton, 40, Browning Avenue, Thornton, received 12-month suspended sentence and 250 hours of unpaid work. Brian Alton, 34, Clifton Drive, St Anne's, received 12 months suspended sentence and 250 hours of unpaid work. Police said, Detectives Chief Inspector Stuart Dixon of Lancashire Constabulary's Serious Crime Team said, this organised criminal gang was involved in bringing huge amounts of Class A drugs into Blackpool and profiting from their illicit trade. We are committed to tackling organised crime groups, working in the county and on this occasion focusing on Flyde Coast. These sentences send out a clear message to all those involved in organised crime, including the production and supply of drugs. The violence which controls this market and how it impacts on vulnerable people, blights our communities and puts ordinary law-abiding people at risk. I would like to reassure the public we will keep up the pressure on those involved in serious and organised crime in Lancashire, continually striving to protect the most vulnerable. We will relentlessly pursue these offenders and put them before the courts to make our streets safer. So what are your thoughts about this Blackpool-based gang and how they communicated and distributed hundreds of thousands of Class A and Class B drugs around the northwest of the UK? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.